Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're taking a look at Tropical Storm Elsa as it makes its way through the Caribbean and sets its sight for southern and western parts of Florida. As you can see right now, Tropical Storm Elsa is pretty much a mess right now. You do have some strong pockets of circulation and some convection. If I could stop this for a moment, you can see the strongest convection is where you have these deeper colors of red and black. You do have some more pockets of this on the eastern side than west side. And as you can see, you do sort of have a low pressure system right here trying to form an eye. But as you can see, this is still pretty much a mess. This is all stranded out from the shear, shearing the storm apart. But once it gets into the Caribbean, it will have a little bit more favorable time of forming. And as you can see, as you go back, it doesn't look like much. It does look like a little bit of a weaker storm at this point. But as you can see, you do have a low pressure system right here trying to form. And if you go all the way to now, you do see the storm is making a more easterly track. And you do have your low pressure system in there. But I will say it is a little bit more easier to find a low pressure system than as of right now than before. So this storm is starting to get its act together. It just needs a little bit more time. And once again, once it gets into the Caribbean, it will have more favorable conditions to form. If you take a look at the track of a cone right now, sent out by the National Weather Service, these in this yellow, surrounded by this X, is where you have the tropical storm winds. And eventually, possibly, you could see some red forming as you get into the Caribbean, which it could be hurricane force winds. In the blue, right here, you have tropical storm warnings, and in this yellows, you have tropical storm watches all the way back by Haiti and these islands out here. I believe those are the British Virgin Islands, if I am not mistaken, but as you can see, once this storm makes its way through those islands, it sets its sights on Haiti, Jamaica, and Cuba, and once it makes its way through Cuba, it has a couple days to gather strength here. If it does make its way to the more western part of this track, it will have more time to gather its strength and become a possible hurricane. It could go into Alabama, Panhandle, Florida, and go make its way out into Georgia and the Carolinas. Or it could follow the more easterly part of the track where I have a little more time, a little less time, I should say, to gather strength, and will actually be better for pretty much everybody. It'll be better for Florida, probably the Carolinas, and probably even for Cuba. Now, if you're Florida, you want the second option to happen because it will most likely mean the storm will be weaker than this option over here. This would probably be a tropical storm, even if a weak tropical storm. And on the first solution, this could be a strong tropical storm or a Category 1 hurricane. Now, there's this one option that still could happen. It could go straight up out to sea once it makes at this point and just miss Florida and hit the Bahamas. At this point, nobody wants to get hit by a tropical storm hurricane, but I think this is the best solution because it's right in between the Bahamas and Florida, so it really wouldn't be making landfall or either the two, and it would be more of a fish storm once it gets out here. It could go north of Bermuda, get kicked out, or it could go into the Carolinas, but once again, this is a couple days out. We still have a lot of time to look at the storm. If we take a look at the spaghetti models as of right now, this is the 18Z that just came out, and as you can see, the majority of them show that westerly track. There's a few models that do straight up take it into the Gulf, but the majority of them take it into the Panhandle of Florida, if not into Tampa, and eventually makes its way through Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, possibly could even end up in New Jersey, Long Island, Delaware, Maryland. But once again, don't even look at this part yet all the way up here. Don't even look at it. It is too far out. It hasn't even made landfall in Cuba yet. So anything could change here. It could go into the Gulf. It could hit Louisiana. Excuse me. Or it could straight up be a fish storm. If we take a look at the GFS ensembles here, you can see it is all over the place. It goes from anywhere from being possible depression hitting Texas, if it even makes landfall Texas, all the way to Louisiana, and all the way back into Florida where the bulk of them are. As you can see right up in here, the bulk are by Florida, Panhandle, Florida, and eventually, yes, it does go into just off the coast of New Jersey and Maryland. But once again, do not even look at this. Don't even consider that as an option yet, because once again, it is all the way out here just north of South America. And if one last spaghetti miles, a GEPS, it wants to take it right over Florida, the more easterly track, option 2 I was just talking about. But it is pretty certain that it's going to make its way into the Caribbean, make its way near or right over Cuba. And that looks like to be a given. Again, once again, don't even consider that as an option yet. And as we make our way into the intensity guidance, this is what it is at right now. As you can see, the bulk of them stay at just or below tropical storm level. But if we go back and compare these two, from the 12Z to the 18Z, you can see that this is the 12Z right now. A majority of them had, sorry about that. Majority of them had the tropical storm strength, strong tropical storm, or just over category 1. And at the 18Z, you could see that more of them have bumped up to the category 1, and some of them are even touching category 3 strength now. So you can see there was none touching category 3. Now there's one. But as you can see, there's a lot more models that do think this storm could hit category 1 strength. Before we move on, I forgot to mention, this storm is currently max sustained winds of 45 miles per hour. Its movement is west-northwest at 29 miles per hour. And where is it? Sorry about this. Oh, yes. This, you see this dotted area where it's not completely white? This is a 4 to 5 day track, and see how big the cone is? This could mean numerous things. Once again, it could go to the Gulf, or be a fish storm, or straight up go off the Florida coast. It could affect anyone. So pretty much, if you live from Louisiana on eastward, I would be paying a close attention to this one. And anywhere in the Caribbean, besides Puerto Rico, I would say, I think you should be paying close attention to this as well. Now on to the GFS. As you can see, the GFS wants to be more, I would say, strengthful with this, more stronger. As you can see, it makes landfall, if not as a category 1 or strong tropical storm here in Cuba, and it does favor that more westerly track, option 1, and it does eventually take its way into Tampa Bay region as a 980, probably strong tropical storm, if not a weak category 1 hurricane, and eventually makes its way all the way up the east coast, and it looks like to be interacting with the cold front that is coming through here. And this storm is going to be moving fast. This is where it's at let's say 8 p.m. Here, let me see, Friday. This is where it's at 8 p.m. Thursday, sorry about that, 8 p.m. And then this is where it is at 8 a.m. Friday. So this is just 12 hours. This storm is going to be moving fast. If this were to happen, this exact track, but no matter the track of the system, it looks like to be moving fast after it makes its landfall at Florida. If we take this back a little bit, this is 126 hours out, and if we can zoom in on Florida, that is actually a 978 low pressure system. Sorry about that, I couldn't see that close, but if we go to the total accumulated precip here, the 24-hour one, that works better. You can see that this storm, if this track were to happen, it would bring 2 to possibly 4 inches, pockets of 5 to 6 inches of rain. The reason why it's so little, it's because this storm is going to be moving at a quick pace. It's either this storm goes in as a strong category 1 or possibly 2, drops 5 to 8 inches, or weak tropical storm, weak category 1 strong tropical storm, drops 3 to 5 inches of rain. And if we go to the winds real quick, as you can see, this is probably a Cat 1. Anywhere in these pinks above 80 is a Category 1. And it looks like you get up to 96. So this could be a Category 1, strong, medium Category 1, an average one, or a very strong tropical storm. If we switch to the Canadian model, it looks like to be almost in par with the GFS, but a little bit more of a westerly track if I can load this. Oh, this is the new run. I didn't even see this, but it does look like it is a lot weaker. It doesn't even form a tropical storm. It looks like to keep it as a depression. It looks like it gets destroyed over Cuba here, and then eventually does form a tropical depression over Florida. But this would take it near Miami, and it's more easily tracked, and then eventually gets kicked out by a cold front. Now, this is what I was talking before. You want this storm to go over Cuba, get destroyed by the mountains, and definitely losing its strength. Once again, if we go zoom in at the southeast, this is the total precipitation. For some reason, the Canadian doesn't have 24 hours, so that's sad. But it does bring a lot more precip, even though it's weaker. If I had to guess, it would definitely be slower than the GFS here. You can see this is around 9-10 inches of rain. That's just off the coast of Florida. It does bring some 6 to 8 inches of rain by Orlando, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, that's pretty much it from the Canadian. And if we take a look at the icon is iffy with this storm. I might have to go to the 12Z. Yeah, alright, 12Z. I'm not even sure if the icon brings it in. I haven't really looked at this model. And yeah, this icon doesn't even show this system. If I had to guess, it would be destroyed by the mountains and doesn't even form a system. But this is what the icon showed. Now, from the National Weather Service and NOAA, these are the four key factors and messages for Tropical Storm Elsa. Tropical storm conditions are expected to begin early Friday in portions of Windward and southern Leeward Islands. That's over here. And also southern Hispaniola on Saturday, which is right over here. That's where that yellow is in the tropical storm watches. Heavy rainfall from Elsa will quickly move across the Windward and southern Leeward Islands, including Barbarossa. Friday, and outer rain bands will impact Puerto Rico, which is right up here. I guess Puerto Rico will see some rain, but it doesn't look like to be anything compared to what they've seen before. There is a risk of wind and rainfall impacts in portions of Cuba, Jamaica, and the Turks and Caicos, and the Bahamas through the next week. Interest in those areas should monitor Elsa's progress and update the forecast. And the biggest one, the risk of storm surge, rainfall, and wind impacts in the Florida Keys and portions of the Florida Peninsula next week. However, the forecast uncertainty remains larger than usual due to Elsa's potential interactions with the Greater Antilles this weekend. Interest in Florida should monitor Elsa's progress and updates to the forecast. So once again, I'll show you my map right here. Sorry about that. Anywhere in this whole pink area, I could have extended this back towards Louisiana, but due to very little models having it over here, I took them out. But anywhere in this pink is pretty much an area of possible impact. You could possibly take this whole area out right here. Right here. You could take this whole area out because at this time it looks like just barely avoid that area. But anywhere from this line southward, looks like you could be experiencing tropical storm, if not category 1 strength of hurricane. Thank you all for watching. Stay safe and stay tuned to this, and I will do my part to update on tropical storm and possibly even Hurricane Elsa.